I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Monday of Horribly Hollywood Single. I, of course, am your host, Adam Carr. You can see that giant head behind me. I'm here to talk about the worst dating stories by some of the best guests in Hollywood. There's a pandemic, there's a quarantine, there's all these things going on in politics, and guess what? We still have bad dates. Now, my guest today, I gotta tell you, I gotta take a giant breath for this. This guy, if you think you work, this guy works. And let me tell you about this, okay? He's the host of the SOS show with James Lott Jr. He's the host of A Lot of Help with James Lott Jr. He's the host of Extra Connections. He's the host of In Between the Pages with James Lott Jr. He doesn't stop there. He's the host of Left-Handed with a lot to say. That's 2 T's, ladies and gentlemen. He does multiple after shows. He's written tons of books. He talks about organization. He also has a doctorate in divinity. My God, James Lott Jr., ladies and gentlemen.
I'm tired now. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to lay down. I do all that. I'm going to lay down.
You're doing all this stuff. How do you sleep? What do you do? James, walk me through an average week with you.
Well, I'm so glad to be on here. And I told him off camera, I'm going to keep flirting with him while we're on the show. That beautiful smile. I'm just like, and yours. Those eyes,
James,
that smile.
I'm engaged, but I'm not, it hasn't happened yet. So I welcome, it's quite wonderful.
The first. I know I do watch your show. And you're very cute. Your fiance is very lucky. She's very lucky. But I'm gonna keep hitting on you throughout the show though, because I'm horribly Hollywood single.
No, hey, you know what? And that's why we're so glad to have you on the show, because no matter what you're doing in life, no matter what you've achieved, bad dates, there's no immunity for that. They happen to everybody. Exactly. So I'm so glad to have you on, because to me, I've listened to a bunch of your stuff. You're absolutely wonderful. You have a great energy. I've seen you at the AfterBuzz Studios. Like, everybody loves being around you. You're like one of those people that people gravitate towards, instead of someone that walks up and people go, I don't want to be around them. You're the opposite. I feel like people genuinely they just gravitate towards you. So I'm dying to hear what you have to say about stuff. But first off, welcome, and tell us a little bit about you. You grew up, you said, between here and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, I'll actually answer your first question. I do sleep. I love sleep. I love sleep. This is why I'm 51 years old, kids. I mean,
you got the skin of a 30-year-old. You're doing quite well.
I stole it from them. No, yeah. But no, I sleep with steaks.
You're dead.
I'm dead. I'm really dead. Yeah, so I know you're a comedian, so I can throw stuff at you.
Really?
But no, I know the thing is, I do enjoy. I think sleep, naps, very important. That's what you live well. I drink lots of water. I mean, that's and of course, black don't crack. There's always that too.
You said it, not me, James.
I know, I said it for you. No, okay. So anyway, life for James Lott Jr. I am an overachiever. No, a little bit. No, I've always been a multi-hyphenate. No matter what I've done, since I was a kid, I came out doing 10 different things. I mean, out of the womb, I was doing always. In school, I was always involved. I was called a group hopper in school, but always be parts of different groups. I was never just like the jocks, or never just like the smart kids. I was always everybody. I would go to the drama people, but I never stayed in fully. But I was like, I knew everyone. I knew the lay of the land. That was always me. Always.
Few different people. I think that's very important, especially to socialize in different groups, because you kind of learn that not one is more important than the other, and people are they're all the same in the end when you cut it down.
It's funny you say that. It's because I was saying this the other day with all this stuff that's going on out there, the Black Lives Matter stuff. I was trying to tell people we're actually all more alike than we are different. We all want love.
Yeah.
We all want to be heard. We all want to have just like live our lives. We all want food. We all want sex. It sounds funny, but it's kind of like we're really. I mean, the only difference is maybe some cultural things, maybe some stuff.
It's just seen through a different lens, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Yes, we all. That's what the equality thing comes. We all want the same stuff.
We all want the same thing. Yeah. And by the way, you having the same equality as me doesn't suddenly make me have less equality.
I'm glad you said it.
Just from one straight white man to whoever is listening out there, just to let you know, allowing you to have the same slice of pie that I'm taking from doesn't make mine smaller.
Exactly. We get the same slice of pie everyone. So we have the same pies, everything. It's just kind of crazy. So I grew up in a multicultural family, Puerto Rican, Black, Dutch, Creole, I mean, everything. And then growing up in 2 different places where there was kind of also multiculturalism in the areas that I grew up in, also, especially with Latino and Asian and white and everything all in between, that I grew up with this sense of the world is mine, I'm part of the world, let's work it out. So that's kind of how I do everything. Everything.
Well, I love that you also grew up in Pittsburgh because I grew up in Cleveland. So we would have been mortal enemies for sports teams. Now, I got to tell you, I know almost nothing about sports. I just know that, LeBron James won the championship for us, that we're doing amazing. I remember growing up, my dad would tell me to say to Pittsburgh Steelers fans, the cheerleaders shave the team players' armpits. I don't know what that means, but I said it quite fervently as a 10-year-old. But we would have been mortal enemies.
Yes, we would have.
But
no, let me tell you something. I'm gonna actually school you a little bit. I'm gonna school the straight white man about sports. How ironic is that?
Please.
Because I'm not either of those. So I'm a Steelers fan, clearly.
Yep.
Heinz Field, that's right. Troy Hill, Spring Garden area. But I have family in Cleveland, Middleburg Heights, Brunswick, Medina, Parma Heights. I mean, I know Cleveland. A lot of
great show choirs there. I think my school, Solon, competed against many of those in my time.
Yes, I know Pittsburgh. I know Cleveland, I know Pittsburgh. I've been to Brown Stadium.
Oh yeah, that's quite.
But you guys have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So you have that.
That is. I will tell you that is one of the coolest places, and I'm so glad that we have that because it's just amazing. You would think, you're like, what does Cleveland have? We have the Science Center and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and
yes. What's weird is they have the awards in New York. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, the induction ceremony is in New York. So to me, that's always been like a hot woman that would sleep with you in high school, but wouldn't hold your hand in public. Like, I'll give you the awards, but I don't want people to know that we're together ever. And
Totally.
I get it.
But no, I mean, it's. But what's really funny is I've actually been brave enough to go to Brown Stadium wearing a Ben Roethlisberger, jersey to watch them play. And I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of rivalry. I mean, there's like toilet paper that says, wipe my ass with Cleveland, and all these kind of things and stuff. But in real life, we actually, and even at Heinz Field, when Browns people come to Heinz Field, everybody gets along. Everybody's drinking beer, of course. Everybody's
much better than like Cleveland and Cincinnati is much more. I feel like vicious because that's literally brother against brother, like in the same state.
I've been there.
That's nasty. I feel like with Pittsburgh, it's always been like, yeah, we've always been against each other, but there's a bit of this like friendship. But with Cincinnati, it's like they'll kill you.
Now, I mean, I'll go get my Skyline chili while I'm there, but that's another story. I love my Skyline. I love my Skyline chili. I miss it.
Speaking of food, James, you're leading me to my next segue. While we might have been enemies, we would have shared a table at Bob Evans. Bob Evans. I heard that on your show. You can talk first about, but for those of you who didn't grow up in the Midwest,
yes,
like,
tell them
like
about it.
Proper America, Bob Evans is like this country home style, but it's not like Cracker Barrel. It's a bit more, gosh, it's
not upscale. It's not upscale, but it's not homey like. It's not like it doesn't have a general store in front. It's not like
it's not a general store. It feels like it's like the next level up where it's a bit more corporate commercial.
Yes.
Right. But it's like one of those places where you can get that giant big breakfast. And I was listening to one of your shows, a lot to say about the gentleman who is both a chef and a doctor, and just saying like how important it is to eat those meals. Because when I would go back home, I mean, I would gain like 10 pounds over Christmas break because I would just eat. And I mean, seriously, I have the fat kid gene. Like I can put on muscle and fat amazingly fast. But Bob
Evans. I mean, now, if I could not love you more, Adam Carr, I think I just had an Evans-gasm. I think it just
an Evans-gasm.
I think I did. I think I just did. I'm like, the man I have a crush on likes Bob Evans like I do.
James, all I can tell you is someday when I write my book about what, I don't know what it will be, but I will have you write the forward, and I look forward to it.
My forward.
I actually worked for Bob Evans for a summer, and it did not go well because the first thing I did was like, they're like, oh, you can take a break and, you can grab a drink from the soda fountain. So I grabbed like the expensive kid's styrofoam cup and I poured like cherry syrup and made a Shirley Temple. And I'm just standing back there and the manager comes back and is like, did you grab the expensive cups? I'm like, oh yeah. And then he's like, are you using that stuff like this, the syrup? And I'm like, we're not supposed to. He's like, no, you're supposed to grab it, And I'm like, oh, well, this job kind of sucks. Like, what was the point of not grabbing your free shit? So, yeah.
But the biscuits and gravy, folks, I'm telling you, the eggs.
There's something about the biscuits and gravy.
There is.
More than ever before.
And Adam, it's real gravy, not this shit we have out here in California, the brown shit. We're talking
No.
actual artery clogging, full of fats, full of whatever.
I'm talking Marie Callender's level style gravy.
Yes.
That like then has a side of mashed potatoes and then macaroni and cheese. Like basically it's the amount of carbs and fat that you should never have. And then on top of that, I'm getting some pie, James.
Hello.
Are you kidding?
I mean, please. Hello. Yes, I love. Oh, I get to get a moment. I gotta have a drink.
It was an Evans guess, man. There we go. Salute. So.
Yes, I love it. Yes.
I also wanted to say real quick, you have a left-handed podcast which talks about being left-handed. Now, evidently, I can't be on this podcast because I'm right-handed. I feel, marginalized.
I find a way for you to be on there, Adam. It's you. That smile and everything. I would totally find a way for you to be on the show.
Look, I'll use my left hand. So the thing is, I did a one act in high school that was called Removing the Glove, which basically put similarities between being left-handed as a satire with homosexuality. So it was like this one act show that we did. And then it was about coming out of the glove compartment when you were ready to tell your family that you were left-handed. And then I had to give this monologue about how I was sucking my friend's thumb and he was sucking my thumb and we were both sucking each other's left-handed thumbs. It was this whole thing, right? And I literally I had to get called into the principal's office after we did this whole sketch. And my drama club teacher, basically, he was on his way out. But this basically put the nail in his coffin because they were like, were you aware of this scandalous show? And I'm like, yeah, it's I don't know. And they're like, well, what's he aware? I'm like, yeah, he's in charge. We're kids. Of course he knew what it was. I'm like, I just thought it was funny. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It was this whole thing. But I remember it was so being left-handed. That's so interesting. What has your experience been growing up? And I just think that's so interesting and cool to have a podcast about that.
I almost have to have you on the show telling that story. Just literally.
Oh, I would love to.
No, seriously. I wrote it down. Contact Adam to do the show. Okay. Because that's something unique. I want to say this to people out there. My mother half-assedly, that's not even a word, but we make it a word. Okay. Half-assedly.
Either she was on acid or she just did it half-assed.
Exactly. You choose.
Got it.
Choose what you want. Today she's 70 years old today, so happy birthday to her. But no, so she said you should do you probably do a podcast of being left-handed. I was like, And I looked around, no one's doing one. I'm part of a bunch of left-handed groups on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'd like just like 10 of them. I'm part of all of them. And I was like, I'm sure there's left-handed people out there who probably have some story to tell. And I want to tell you, Adam, in all seriousness, I've done about 8 or 9 episodes. I have learned something in every single episode from other left-handed people. Every episode has been something totally different. They'll bring like, well, how do you place your pots on the stove? And how do you put your clothes in the closet? I'm like, oh my God, I didn't say, like, it seriously has been one of the most rewarding podcasts I have ever done.
That is so cool because that, again, it's like something that you wouldn't necessarily think about. I have a feeling it's like the same recessive gene that has the chances of being called up like the redhead gene. Like it's gotta be, hard to find. Like literally you can count probably on one hand how many people who are actually left-handed.
Right. Now my brother and I and my grandson, who was on the show actually, the 3 of us are the only left-handed people in our whole family. Right? Nobody else is on either side. So it's one of those really weird, like we're part of this club. It's like this weird club we're part of.
You would have been called a witch. They would have called you a witch.
I know. Left-handed is Sinestra. It used to be Sinestra, which is like sinister, and that's left. And there's a whole history about that. I'm going to do a show on that actually. But yeah, no, I like being left-handed. I think it's a trip. I'm a true left-hander. I'm not ambidextrous.
Okay.
Right hand is just like it's here for the show. It's here for the show. I'm glad it's here. I love you. I'm glad you're here. But my left hand is when it does literally. I mean, even my feet. I skate. I lead with my left.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't do left-handed, which is weird, bowling.
Really?
I bowl with my right.
You bowl with your right. Now this is weird because both my brother and I are right-handed, but we kick left-footed. Ooh. And my father kicks right-footed. So one time on the driveway pavement with a football, he was teaching us, it was like a Wonder Years episode. He was teaching us how to kick a football. And then he kept doing it right-footed. He's like, well, no, you're not getting it because you're left-footed. So, all right, I'm just going to do this the way you do it. And then he lifted his left foot and then also lifted his right foot at the same time and literally just jumped up in the air, landed on his back on the cement. And my brother and I were both like staring at each other like, oh my God, did dad just die? Like what happened? And literally just whispering like, get your mother. And so we got our mom and she had to come out. So after that, he was just like, all right, just you'll figure it out. Just, yeah, left foot, fine. Do whatever you want to do. We're like, oh, okay.
Well, you know, it's hard because when I was like tying shoes, think about it this way. No one could show me how to tie a shoe. They'll go, do it the opposite. You do it you try something the opposite and see if that works.
I still do the bunny ears. I still
do that. I don't do that. But I had to learn. But when my younger brother came, they're like, teaching your brother. So I taught him how to tie his shoe. But for me, I had to learn on my own. I had to figure it out on my own. Luckily, I was smart. But it's like, but I was trying to learn how to crochet this year too. And I had to find a left-handed person online who crochets. So how to hold the needle and everything. I mean, it was a trip. That's how my brain sees things differently.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool. So anyway, James, obviously there's a lot going on right now, especially over the last couple of weeks. I feel like I'm watching and learning and reading a lot of things that either I just wasn't aware of as before, but it's obviously it's there's a lot going on. So I just want to give you a few minutes here. If there's anything you want to talk about, obviously, Black Lives Matter, anything that's going on out there that you want to say or do, please, by all means.
I mean, I did a lot of speaking on this. I was on Maria Menounos' show, I was on Roxy Strier's show the other day. I mean, I've done all these talks.
Yeah.
But the only thing I really want to say is just that, it's an American issue and we're all Americans. And I feel that any American should feel bad for another American if they're going through something bad. And there's injustice. And I just feel like that should be the baseline for everything. What I go through should affect you. And what you go through should affect me. It should affect each other, a ripple effect. And whether you know me or not shouldn't matter. Whether my color is brown or not shouldn't matter. It's all of this is not good. And I just feel like we've been going a certain way for a long time. There had to be a point where the pot was going to boil over.
Yeah.
Just had to. I mean, whether nature, everything, nature, emotion, everything, it was coming to a head anyway. And I think there's no coincidence. That's where my doctorate in divinity comes in. I think there's no coincidence that it's happening during COVID. All stuff's going on. And as you know, we both know, there are things that have been going on for a long time. It's not a secret. It's been going on for a long time. But I think it's just now it's time to expose everything and break it down. We need to break everything down. Just because things were a certain way, and that's how it's always been, those phrases we hear, doesn't mean it works today.
Right.
That's
what it's changing. Yeah.
That's changing. And I just think that we need to view this as an American issue. That's kind of my big thing. It's like we need to view this as everybody's problem that should be handled and eradicated.
That was very well said.
Thank you.
So you wrote me first off, you were very funny in your emails and writing to me. I think you're wonderful and just charming. You were writing, you dated through different decades. Seriously, men and women. So obviously this is none of my business. I'm just asking because you had written down, if you don't want to talk about anything.
Talk about it. I'm not a problem.
Tell me to go to hell or shove it in my face. I guess
I just love you harder. That's all.
Thank you. That's all you can beat it. Beat it with love. So I guess what are the pros and cons of dating a man or dating a woman? Or is it still for you where you just like, I'm done with women or done with men? Like how does that, when you say, oh, I've dated both, to me, that's just so interesting because I'm like, I've only seen one track my whole life, right? So I guess I'm just curious or interested, especially other people out there, because I feel like growing up the way I did, you kind of learned like, oh, you're either straight or you're gay, and this idea that no, you can find love where you find love, and that we don't have to make these specific categories to make everybody feel safe and good, and that it can be open, and that it can be different things, and you don't have the answers, and that's okay to say you don't have the answers. So I'm kind of just trying to be of this more open mindset that anything can work as long as it just makes you happy and you're not hurting other people. But I'm just curious with you, what are the pros and cons of dating men or women? And did you find one sex tends to be worse dating? Like, is one more horribly Hollywood single than the other? I just want your experience because you dated both.
Yeah. Very good question. So for me, when you contacted me, we were kind of going back and forth on the email. I was thinking, wait a minute, I've dated during the last 5 decades. I know I'm only 51 years old, but like I did in the 80s, 90s. I was like, It's gonna be interesting. And I'll tell you, dating was much more fun back in the day.
I feel like it would have been because you didn't have the dating apps or all this technology crap. And
You got it. You got it. It was much. It was. I sound like this old person. It was a simpler time. It was. I mean, just. I mean, like. I mean, but it was. It literally was a simpler time. Like the distractions weren't there that they're there now. And I mean, there were some things that permeate through. To me, men and women both, they all suck. Everybody sucks. They all suck at this point. Everybody's horribly Hollywood single. Everybody's horribly Hollywood, whatever. It's just completely. Now it's just a person. And for me, I've always been a person who doesn't believe in labels. I know what labels do. I know what they're for. I know why people need them. People need to figure you out.
sure.
That's what labels are for. So I go,
Right.
okay, so Adam, okay, so Adam's a white guy. I got it. So Adam says he's straight as a fiance, so it means he's straight. Okay, so well, doesn't necessarily mean you're straight. I mean, you could be other, but you're dating a woman. But immediately go, he's straight, he has a fiance, means he's getting married. Got it. Now they can move on for some reason. They can just, I was like
Right.
now we
Because
can
they
talk.
feel better about what you are, so that
Yeah. So when you said that, I was like, that's so completely true. It's just like that's what they want to figure out. But if you're a person who goes, oh yeah, I'm gay, okay, and you're dating guys, and all of a sudden you date a chick. So are you bi? No, I'm not bi. Oh, so you're dating a chick. Well, it was her. It was something about her that I fell in love with, and one of the girls that I fell in love with, we're still friends to this day. She's married and moved on to other things, but we're still friends to this day. I
that's
fell in love with her, like literally. She was, yes, we had sex. I'm not repulsed by. I don't know what we can say on the show. How far we can say
you
things.
can say whatever you want. It's horribly
Right.
Hollywood single, not well adjusted. I'm feeling great. Single. Let me PG everything up. Life's real.
Well,
Life swears that this happens.
well, I was gonna say that I'm not afraid of a vagina. I'm not afraid of breasts. I'm not afraid
Okay.
of
Me neither.
female skin. No, some gay men are just like they're totally this is not
Oh
their
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
For me, and then a lot of gay men are like me also. We're not repulsed by it or afraid of it, or we don't think it's like this horrible thing. So it doesn't mean I'm bisexual. It just meant that there were times in my life, even after I came out, I dated women, and that made people lose their shit. They didn't know what to do with that. They didn't know what to go with that. And I was just like, don't worry about it. I mean, I'm honest with the girl. There are a lot of women who also have their own things, their own non-label things that are going on.
Mhm.
So to me, I've learned in my 35 years of dating, I have learned that it really is about the person. It all boils down to, do you two fit in some level?
Mhm.
That's just what it is. Do I want to hang out with you? Do I even like you? Now, those are the things. Those are the questions that are really most important. Yes, am I attracted to you too? That's big too. But it's always like just like 4 or 5 different things. You're just like, those are the 5 things I need to know, whether you're a man or a woman. That's the point. Just like, do I like? I mean, I know. I mean, I always joke about people. I have straight friends who say they have man crushes on me and stuff, and I really believe they do love me in certain ways. That there is some kind of thing there, but not really anything major would happen. We're friends, but like, then have female same things. Female crushes on. I'm like, it's just that sexuality is a broad thing. Number one, it's a really broad thing, and some people are straight up this, and some folks are not straight up that.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's things in between, and so for me, I always wanted to find love. That was always my number one underlining everything was that I wanted to find love. Always, still do. I want to find love. And so I'm navigating my way through who I meet and where I meet them, and then I go with it. I'm a very fearless person. I just go with the flow. I try to see what's going on out there. And I go with it. I mean, I consider myself a person who wants a man,
Mhm.
not a man. But I'm not saying I'm completely closed off to. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, who knows what's going to happen out there? I mean, I may meet somebody and some chick, and I'm like, okay, I'm in. I dated a couple of non-binary folks who recently who didn't don't have a gender thing, and that was very interesting. Learning pronouns and stuff, and being attracted to them. I've made out once with a trans man once years ago,
Mhm.
and it was like kissing a man. I mean, it was kissing somebody. It didn't nothing was crazy. So for me, I'm pretty fearless in just that. But I mean, I know what I know I'm leaning towards men, but I have been open to all kinds of people.
And just because I think it's really important to ask questions, and just in case if people are listening right now, when you say non-binary, because I know people hear that, but they might not necessarily know what that means. So just in case, do you
Oh yeah.
mind?
No, no, my mind. So basically, they believe gender is a construct. So they don't believe in and just you'll hear terms like cis male or cisgendered female, meaning someone biologically feels they're female. That's what they're born, but they're feeling that the term male could be encompass anything. The way you look, how you feel. The male is more of a feeling, and so many of them they eschew pronouns like he and him. Usually, they'll say they, them, and that's what non-binary is. And I'm not sure folks would probably explain it way better than I do, but that's what I learned from the folks that I've talked to.
No, that's very kind. Thank you very much. So you're talking about dating through the decades. It was a simpler time, a little better. I feel like that's why we love watching stuff like Stranger Things or a different.
Yes.
It's just a better, like, it's just, yeah, it was so much simpler in communication, and it just sounds.
It just was. I mean, come on. I mean, Adam, it was like phone calls. I mean, it was like you were excited talking on the phone for hours. Now you anybody text you. You better get a text back. One word text make you want to just jump off a bridge. Like, you give me a one word text.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, that's
K? I hate the K. You know what I think about the K? The K to me is like a monosyllabic "fuck you." That's what K seems like. Like, I don't really have the time to think about anything. Let me get you off my screen. I got to get back to my Pinterest, which, by the way, I've been calling it Pinetress for the last month. I want to thank my fiance for brushing me up to speed on that.
Thank God for her. Yes, thank God for her.
Otherwise, I'd be really awkward. So, James, as we get into this, you're talking about through the decades. What for you, if we can get into some bad dates here? I don't know if you have either a relationship, if you feel comfortable talking, or a couple of different bad dates, maybe a ghosting situation. Maybe, they said that they were something, they claimed to have all these things, and then it just turned out they were lying about everything. Like, give me something here. Give me a lot with 2 T's to talk about.
I'll give you, here's one that happened. I have a string. Trust me, I got a lifetime of one. But here's one that kind of took the cake for me. So I dated a gentleman who I really liked. And so my friends met him. He was really super sweet and nice. And he told me he had a roommate.
Okay.
In LA, of course, that's fine.
Yeah, roommates, yeah.
Roommates, that's fine. But then he revealed after a few dates, we had some really good dates. We were getting along, we were connecting, good dates. And then he said, it's my ex. Now, that didn't throw me off because I lived with my ex for years. We became friends. And sometimes in the gay world, you become friends with your ex. And we meet very differently than straight people do. So it's
okay.
I don't really, so there's no red flag for me there. It's kind of like, oh, live with your ex. We lived together. We were together, but it's hard to live in LA. I'm like, oh, I understand that. I totally get that. I mean,
I did not know that about the gay community. In the straight community, I feel like it's really hard to coexist with your ex.
Unless a lot of gay men are friends with their exes. I mean, it's just
that's good to know. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, it is. It is, and that's. I mean, and sometimes you just meet, especially as older gays. We're used to like. But that was we dated 30 years ago.
It was a real time. Yeah, it's done. Yeah,
not that bad movie. Anyway, so. But yeah, so I mean, he said this stuff, and it was like not a big deal. And I was like, okay. And he goes, yeah, because I want to move out at some point. I mean, that makes sense. He had to get a job and everything.
At least to be honest, like, it's not like you found out about it like 3 months.
No.
Who's your roommate? Oh, it's my ex. Like, then that'd be awkward.
It'd be a little awkward. And this gentleman was Hispanic, and his ex was Black. And so I guess I got to say that that's the important part of the story. Okay. I was like, okay, so you like a type, obviously, kind of. Okay, that's fine. Sure. And so then we're dating. Weeks are going by and everything, and then. And so naturally it's time to go to each other's houses. Like, you go to my house, I'll go to your house. Well, my house was fine. I mean, I live with my brother, I have a huge house, we're fine. He came over and everything. And at one point I was like, oh, I want to come to your place. I'm in Hollywood, you live in Hollywood, I'm gonna stop by. Well, I don't know if that's good right now. I was like, okay, that's fine, good, not right now, it's fine, whatever. Then we went on a date, and then we were talking, and during the date, he says to me, this is like maybe a month in, that the ex and him still sleep in the same bed. So for me, I was like, so you mean like there's no couch or another, you have one bedroom? We have a one bedroom. I go, okay. And he goes, well, the dogs sleep between us. So you, your ex, and the doggies all sleep in the same bed.
And then we meet each other breakfast.
So I was like, I don't know if I feel something. I mean, so, and I go, so that's why I can't come over. When it comes out, the ex is like, don't tell James about our business and how we broke up. And I'm like, well, not really talking about you. So it became very strange. And for me, I'm in my 50s. The guy I was dating was in his late 40s. The guy that his ex was in his 50s. I'm like, we're a little old for this. I don't even know. I mean, this is not college time. This is like really weird.
Yeah, this is a college argument. This was I had to tell you we were sleeping in the same bed. Like, I didn't know it was such a big deal. I love you.
That's what he kind of says about the love you part. But he kind of said that. I was kind of like, but I don't understand what the problem is. I mean, we're not doing anything. Go, that's not the point. So that's where the limit was for me.
Yeah.
I lived with an ex. We didn't sleep in the same room. We had different bedrooms. We paid rent. I mean, it was a whole different. I mean, like it was an arrangement. It wasn't that we had the doggies between us and you put your CPAP machine on and you're like, good night. No, we don't do that. It's like, it was weird. That was weird. So that was one. I know. Let me give you a little quick one. I had another one where the guy tells me, we have great, I mean, we talk great talks. We live at a great restaurant called Mofongo's, which is a Puerto Rican restaurant in North Hollywood.
Okay.
On Lake Hashem. I'm Puerto Rican, so I want to go there.
Okay.
So we're sitting there. The date, I mean, it seems like it's going well. Like we're clicking and clacking, and you know, we're both Hispanic. We're talking in Spanish and English, and having a good time. Then somehow he starts talking. I'm like, are they talking about me? Yeah, you know, James, you know, if someone has a stomach, I just can't get turned on. I mean, it's just so hard for me. I mean, if they have a stomach, it's just like, yeah, my dick just won't get hard, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't know what's going on. And they're talking. I'm just sitting there going, oh, like, oh my, oh, okay, you don't like stomachs, I guess. And I mean, I'm not as morbidly obese or anything, but I got a little dad bod stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so
the dad bod.
right.
Dad bod's how I've made my history of dating. That's it. You take that away from me, I don't have much, James.
Exactly. It's like, hello, I'm not some skinny twink. I'm not some muscle-bound man.
There are 19-year-olds for a reason. You can go find them.
Exactly. But no, the thing is, the dating app, I actually put pictures of my whole body.
That's very smart.
No, because like, you get a lot of pictures where like this is just fixed.
Oh, you never trust. You can never trust the head because we can do
exactly.
And then someone like, oh, I took that 8 years ago. You're like, yeah, I know. You were clearly 20 when you took this. And
exactly. So I always make sure at least a couple of my shots are full body, and you know, in clothes, of course, but full body. You see my body type. And on some apps, you actually have your stats on there. So I'm not hiding. I don't hide nothing. I'm 6 feet tall, 250. I'm a big boy. So I'm like, this is nothing, new. So when we met up, it was kind of weird because, I mean, it was like, oh, you started talking. But the conversation was so kind of like, and so when someone's just bigger than I am, I like that. But if they're just too big, I go, wait a minute. So are you talking about me? He's like, I'm sorry, but you're just too fat for me. That's what he said to me. He actually said those words.
At dinner?
At dinner.
What a prick.
So I sat there for a second. As I had my food, I go, hi, can I get this to go, please? And so we sort of boxed up my food. I mean, we just started eating. I was like, I'm taking the food home, of course.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, James, I doesn't offend you. I mean, I'm not trying. I mean, I'm just saying that I can't be with somebody who's fat.
I just want to put you down and just tell you how bad you are physically and just make you feel like shit. But please, my God, like don't
keep going. But just keep going. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you're good looking in the face and everything. I mean, I don't stop. I just, I can't do this. So I went, oh, okay. And I tell you my food, and I go, so okay, well, he goes, well, can we be friends? I go, well, no, because you're rude and tactless. And thanks for dinner. And he goes, thanks for dinner. I go, thank you for dinner. And I got up and left. Made him pay for it.
There you go. Now that's a lot to say right there. And you did it.
Now, side note, Adam.
Piece of shit.
We follow each other online.
Yeah.
He's dating the guy right now who's fatter than I am.
I know. Because guess what? That hole he was trying to fill inside of his heart, he'll never be able to. No, he's going to end up with someone. He's going to get dementia, and he's not going to have someone to take care of him. Those people always do.
I can only hope.
First off, that's shitty, but I'm really glad that you stood up for yourself, and that's quite amazing. So screw that.
I know.
Well, thank you for sharing. I know it's not always easy, but you do it in a most pleasant, wonderful way. And we're going to segue from there into a little...
Ooh, red flag. All right.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the way red flags works, I'm going to read James 3 cards here of red flags, and he's going to answer to me the one bugaboo, in the words of Step Brothers, that he just cannot absolutely deal with. And we're going to put these with the blinders of the pandemic. So some of these in real life, you might be like, yeah, I don't give a shit. But if you had to be with someone every day in quarantine, it might change your mind. So I got 3 here. Is 40 years older than they were in their profile pic. That can happen. 50 Shades of Grey is literally the only book they've read. At least you know, like, what's on their mind. And this is good. Just got out of prison, but won't tell you what they were in there for.
Those are 3 good ones.
Those are 3 good ones, right? So 40 years older than they were on their profile pic. So let's just say their profile pic, they were 25. So they're 65. So
Not bad. I can handle that one. Not bad. Okay, I can handle that one.
50 Shades of Grey is literally the only book they've read.
Hold that one.
I have a podcast about books.
I'm a reader. I got podcasts about books. I'm a reader. So I'm like, hold that one for a second.
This might, and then just got out of prison, but won't tell you what they were in there for. They did a quick 18 months, okay? A winter, summer. And then they came out and they don't want to talk about it. They said, I served my time. I'm Jean Valjean. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Because prison guys always bring up musicals.
Sure, why not?
Always.
But there's chess or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with, because I'm gonna keep up the book's the red flag.
Yeah, the books, right? If you only read one book.
That's it. Not even children's books. Not even like crossword puzzle. I don't know what else.
Like Charlotte's Web or The Giver. Or Raisin.
Oh yes.
It's something.
Dr. Seuss, something. I don't know what's going on. I would say no. Stephen King. I don't know what's going on. So that'd be the red flag. The prison one could be anything. Could be anything. They're probably hot. So
they're probably hot.
Probably hot.
Keyword, probably. We don't know. So, okay, we're going to go from there to, all right, we got a little segment here called Date, Dump, Divorce. Now, you've heard of F, Marry, Kill.
Yes.
Well, we don't do that here because we don't care about that. We want to know how it ends badly. So, Date, Dump, Divorce. Now, James, I believe I saw you in an interview. You said that you started at AfterBuzz TV, which we're both part of the same family here with AfterBuzz TV Studios, which love being a part of. You said you started as a guest host and you were so good, you just kept picking up stuff. And you started originally, if I'm not mistaken, doing soap opera after shows. General Hospital, is that where you started?
Days of Our Lives, then General Hospital.
Days of Our Lives in General Hospital. Okay, cool. So my theme today, let me know if this works. I picked 3 gentlemen for you who are very well known, but got their start in soap operas.
Ooh, I like this.
I know. So you can either go with their older Salt and Pepper versions or their younger, like in the 90s when they were, kids on these shows. Whatever you think's best. So whatever works for you.
So curious. Okay.
I got Josh Duhamel, who was in All My Children. That's where he started.
Yes.
I got Brad Pitt, who originally started in Another World.
Good.
There. And then, of course, we have Mark Consuelos of All My Children. Now, I got a palette here of hot gentlemen. You can go from where they are now, little grizzled, salt and pepper, to the young kids back then, just young and ambitious.
We're all a little grizzled.
Yeah, a little grizzled, but you got to date one of them, you got to dump one of them, and you got to divorce the last one. Josh Duhamel, Brad Pitt, Mark Consuelos. I'll give you 30 seconds here on the clock.
Number 1, I'd marry you. Why should I say that? I know it's not part of the thing, but I'm just going to tell you that. I'd marry Adam Carr. James Lott.
Oh, James. I'm a tough pill. Believe me. I'm not.
Fine.
It's not always fun and games. I'm very insecure.
I'm sure I'll take it. You smile at me, I'll take it. Okay, to play the game. And this is going to be unpopular. I was never attracted to Brad Pitt, so I would actually dump him.
You know what? Not too many people would say they'd have the guts to dump Brad Pitt.
I know. I'm standing by it. Great actor. I just was never attracted to him.
Okay.
He's dumped. Okay. And then divorce. And what's the other one?
And then date. So the divorce, you got married. Maybe you had a few kids, right? And then it just wasn't working out. And finally, in the end, you're like a bitter old cop waiting for their pension. You just want to get out of there. You're just like,
it'd be Josh Duhamel then. I would have divorced him and I'd be dating some Mark Consuelos. He still look good.
There you go. Yeah, I got to tell you, he's aging very well. I know that as a white man, I really got to moisturize because our skin.
You need to hide from the sun. Moisturize.
I know. You got to stay pale. That that English patriarchy, the monarchy. You probably don't know words.
Either one, Adam. Either one works.
Hey, why don't I do a podcast about words? All the words I mess up on a daily basis. You know how many times my fiance is kind enough to go, "That's not the word. It's this word," and I go, "Shit, I was just saying that." That's why nobody was talking to me. She's like, "Yeah."
So you're not a wordsmith. You're not a wordsmith. That's okay.
No, I'm not a lingual. Whatever.
Linguist.
Thank you.
I'm a former spelling bee champion twice. So
I took Latin prefix in high school right now, and you're kicking my ass. I can't remember anything. So, by the way, too, I just love you got a doctorate in divinity, which is so cool. I just want to ask real quick, what does that entail? Because that is so cool. So, what does that entail? What does that take to do? And what is your knowledge base? Like, what does that mean?
I can't get back up. I can't get back up. I'll get up later.
I can't get back up. That's it.
I'll get up later. Anyway, so no, what happened for me is I'm actually an ordained minister. So I this is part of my life. I'm also on the board of the SF Church of Compassion in San Francisco. Been there for years.
Oh.
And so I, took courses. I've done a lot of charity work, and it all added to my doctorate in divinity. So I got it from a local Christian university here in Southern California.
Oh, very cool.
And so it's more about higher education in the Christian field.
Okay.
I read the Bible every day and I meditate every morning. And so I do that first thing every morning. Psalm 91 is my psalm every morning. And I know for a lot of people it's like, but you're this, but you're queer, you're this, you can't. I feel like me and God will talk about that later when we see each other, but I believe he made me in his image. And so that's something, and I believe there's parts of religion that I actually like. There are a lot of tenets in religion that I like. I'm not conservative by any means, but there's certain things I like. There's just certain tenets, things I believe in that I think really help me, and having God in my life does help me. It helps me along. So
that's great.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud. I got it in November of 2017. I'm very proud of it.
Oh man, that's awesome! Congratulations. So,
Dr.
pardon?
I'm Dr. Lott. So.
Dr. Lott.
Dr.
My God, I'm just thinking of all the marketing things I could do with your name.
Completely.
So
you have car, same thing. You know how it is.
Oh yeah, no, my friends have already told me someday they'll write a tell-all book about me and they'll say like Adam Carr breakdown, like just what happened. Who's driving the car?
Exactly.
Yeah, when I'm alone by myself and I'm just writing on the wall like a beautiful mind, and my fiance asks if I'm coming to bed, and I say, no, I just need another hour. I'm just writing stuff.
I love it.
Like your book, like my memoir. Okay. So James, real quick, you seem to me like someone who's amazing and incredible with advice. So this next part, real quick, let's just pretend it's like a room in the TV show Lost. I don't know if you ever watched Lost, but Lost a lot of times had things that popped up that were there, but were never explained, and we don't know how they exist or how they came to be. So that's kind of this next segment. You get 90 seconds. You get to walk into another room, and you're going to come face to face with your 18-year-old self. You only have 90 seconds, but you can tell them whatever you want to tell them. You can give them stock tips. You can give them love tips. You can give them anything you want. What do you say to your 18-year-old self?
James, 18-year-old self, you will go through ups and downs. That is part of life. They're unavoidable. So I'm giving you that knowledge now because that will give you freedom as you navigate your way through your years. You may get success later in life. It's going to be okay. It's never too late to have success. It's never too late to find your passion. You may not find it now, but you will find it later. Number three, when God closes doors, it's not because he's being mean or that, that can have it. It just means that he's narrowing your path to your greatness.
That's beautiful. And then you disappear, and then that's it. And then you come back, and you've been standing over the sink washing dishes for the last 30 minutes, and you come back to, and that's it. Perfect. You did perfect. You did wonderful. So last minute things here. We want to find where we can find you. Obviously, you have a ton of shows. So if you want to either name your handles, your shows, all the places where you can find you, because you are a wealth of information, and especially right now in a pandemic, where people have a lot more time to listen to things to better their lives, to better their productivity, their organizational skills. I think that you're a beacon. So where can everybody find you?
Thank you, Adam. I always say in all my shows at the end, you can find where all James Lott Jrs. are at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms, literally everywhere, even on TikTok, kids, even on TikTok. I am James Lott Jr. everywhere. JLJ Media is the company. You can find me on YouTube at JLJ Media, and then on every streaming service, either type in James Lott Jr. or JLJ Media, and you'll find my 12 different podcasts. Some that are from me, some that I'm just producing, some that I'm part of, some that I'm just like hosting. They're all on there, and all my music is under James Lott Jr. Go to James Lott Jr. I have 6 albums out, 3 EPs. Find them there, and my books are at James Lott Jr. on Amazon. James Lott Jr. Type it in, James Lott Jr. books. I have 25 books out, so you can go ahead and
25 books.
Yeah, I do.
Holy moly, that's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a huge round of applause here for James Lott Jr. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our new producer, Kelsey, here at AfterBuzz TV, who's taken over the helm and doing such a fantastic job. I'd like to leave you with one final quote today, as I often do at the end of the show. And here we go. Dating is like your washing machine stopping mid-load and crapping out as you realize you're fresh out of underwear. Dating in LA, same thing, only the repair guy shows up when you're half naked searching desperately for a fresh pair of undies as you run through your house like a madman with the doorbell blaring in the background. My name is Adam Carr. Wanted to tell all of you, stay horrible, stay single. Hey, we don't judge.
I love you.
I love you.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.